very impressed with the scope of activities.
I spoke with Jenny earlier, last week too, just to get some clarification on the numbers, and she's done a good job of presenting it as far as, I'm first looking at the numbers, it was thousands of kids, we don't have that many kids, but, so she's done a great job of clarifying that, and I appreciate it. And again, it's good to see that the participation level is up, the interest is there, and it's growing.
One of the things I said to you, my expertise is really in youth work and not statistics. So any, like this big tally of numbers is not because I don't want to show you the numbers, it's mostly because I don't know how to do it. So if I'm asked any specific questions, I'll make sure to try to get that information to you as best I can. So I, was trying to clarify with these.
Okay, and I guess I had raised the question earlier. You showed, 2008 and 9, basically. Looking at this year, a little over half is done. What's the trend?
Growing participation, and especially a lot of our growth is just in the last 6 months. So it's, this only goes up to this past June.
Oh,
so
I see,
would
this
say
is,
that-
this is this current year, I'm sorry.
Well, it's,
No.
it goes
No.
to
It's
June
through
2009.
It's only through June of 2009, so the last 6 months of.
That's
of
not
Yeah, okay,
this
so
year.
it's not this,
So
okay.
it's not, they're not reflected here. And
Okay.
one of our committee members is actually working on creating a database specific to tracking our participation, and we'll enter the numbers that I have in my very inefficient system into that, and then be able to generate those numbers. But I didn't put them in,
Mhm.
the current numbers. I haven't plugged into because we're trying to utilize the new database that will track all of the names and addresses of every participant, and we'll be able to pull things up quickly, and it tallies automatically. And like I said, those are just, I didn't know how to create that database, so it will be really helpful in the future.
Moving into the building, what do we call that building?
Wheeler?
The recreation building, is that what we call it?
Recreation Center at Ipswich River Park.
Recreation Center at Ipswich
Ipswich
River
River
Park.
Park.
Moving in there, that obviously had a significant impact on participation, because it's like, who wants to come over to town hall?
We definitely, I also utilize office hours on the second floor of the building on the common, which is really helpful, and try to utilize school spaces as often as possible. I really don't run any programming out of town hall, and I sometimes meet with children and families here, but it's very difficult for kids to get here after school, as far as, if they don't have a license, they're not coming across town. So I do try to utilize the downtown spaces as often as possible. The recreation center too is just, it's handicap accessible, it's near everything, and we're excited too to get into spring and summer there, where you also have fields and outside.
Great. Any other questions for Jenny?
No.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Keep up the good work. Accounting and finance. Last but not least.
He left.
What?
He left. No.
Yeah, you had his full attention until you called on.
You wanna take a 5-minute break, or?
Yeah, I would.
I think
Yeah,
Mr.
that sounds good.
Joe wanted to-
Who needs the time?
Administrator's budget,
Yeah,
section
nobody wants to
10.
play.
Section 13.
No.
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah,
13.
13, Finance
12 and
Director,
13.
Counting,
12 and 13.
Accounting.
12 and 13, right?
no, what,
Counting is 13.
13 is accounting,
Which one are we doing?
finance is a small,
All right, we'll do 13.
part of, 12 is the finance director, just has the, one salary for the,
Okay, you're up.
okay, the accounting budget, budget 13, just briefly, the accounting, the function of the accounting, the finance department is to protect the assets of the town.
Gentlemen,
Is to safeguard the assets of the town, provide financial information to certain boards, Board of Selectmen, Finance Committee, and, you know, any other groups that are interested in, or may be interested in receiving financial information of the town. But we were trying to set a good example to the other departments. We were able to level fund our budget. And we had no need to level serve, we had no increases, is what I guess what I'm trying to tell you. So level funded and level services are exactly the same for our department. Because we had no, as fiscal year 2010, we had no contractual obligations to meet in FY, 2011. So we were able to level fund our budget.
Joe, we've been spending money on Munis training,
Mm-hmm.
as we get this Munis system up. I gather that training has all been part of the Munis capital expenditures?
Yes.
So
It's
my question
ongoing.
is, with respect to training, we still have money in that account
Oh, yes,
for training?
yes.
Okay, so there's no issues with,
No, we got off the ground with it on July 1st, we're pretty well into it now, 9 months later. 'Cause, we didn't do much more with it when we lost that employee. I mean, there's other things we want to do going forward with that training, but, now we seem to be able to, we feel like our heads are coming up out of the water with the hiring of a new person, so we're able to do, myself and the assistant finance director are able to do more things that, that are related to Munis,
okay, but
with the
it's,
Munis.
I view it as
module.
a tool.
It is a
and-
tool, right?
And the idea of moving to it, one was, obviously, we had some exposure with the old system.
Correct.
It went away. But above and beyond that, I expect to see some efficiencies. And I obviously didn't expect to see them the first year, maybe not even the second year. But what I think we need is, and maybe this is something that you and members of the school business manager need to get together and come back and identify what the next steps are. What's,
Mhm.
what are our expectations this year? How do we measure what we've accomplished? And then going into the next year, what additional investments? Now, we may be making any investments in April, but October town
Right.
meeting, falls in a few short months. Especially the fact that we finish our town meeting in June.
You'll see that addressed in the FY 2009 audit by the audit firm. They did address that, the issue of us, moving forward with the Munis accounting system. In order to be sufficient, we need, to implement other modules, like the tax collectors package is a big module to implement. And once we can do that, then things will just roll. Instead, we can eliminate making entries. When we take a payment over the counter, it should hit the right account and debit and credit the right accounts, and eliminate some of the clerical errors that may happen.
So, I guess what I'm saying is I think we need kind of a status report and-
Yeah, that's easily done.
and a plan going forward for the next year.
Right. We
And
started.
we also need to have
that.
some measurements of success. So, we gotta be thinking about that. You know, what have we saved, what efficiencies, what additional information do we have? How expedient is it to get this information? Is it online, et cetera?
Right off the top of my head, the departments, we don't need to issue monthly statements to the departments. They can go right in and check the year-to-date, their budget, status of their budget, whenever they really want to.
Well, those are the kinds of things I think we
That's just
should
something that
flag.
rolls off the top of my head.
Or why did we spend this money, you know?
Yeah, no, we're able to do that.
So getting back to the budget here, you think there's ample training to continue progress on Munis without making any adjustments here, because you have money in the,
Yeah,
Use
unless we
capital.
get new modules. With things being the way they are now, we should be okay.
are we still using the consultant?
No, we haven't used a consultant.
Wasn't there someone from Reading that was helping us?
Oh,
with
IT
Munis?
does. Joe's department doesn't, IT does.
IT does, okay. And that's more for hardware than for,
He provides general services to the department. Specifically, I'd have to touch base with the department head in terms of what the particulars are. I'd
we'll
be
have
happy
a
to do.
chance to do that next week.
I'd be happy to do that and report to you next week on that.
Steve.
What about additional modules that we're talking about? Are there any modules that we are contemplating moving into? And what modules don't we have?
We don't have the collector's package, and I did look into it because the auditor was, wanted us to move forward, and I did to get that collector's package, it's another $104,000. But that's complete, that's utility billing, it's the real estate, it's the motor vehicle, it's everything else really that we need. And then we'd be completely on one accounting system. And that's where we'll see the efficiencies start to happen.
Well, that needs to be our goal.
Right,
And it's gotta
right.
be, the timeline's gotta be established.
Right, well, we got slowed down because of the
Oh,
health
I
issues that
understand,
I've,
but we're talking about a new fiscal year coming up, and we're not anticipating doing anything in the upcoming fiscal year to.
What about the purchasing module, is that up?
no, yeah, we have purchase, oh, yeah,
What was the module that we bought toward the end that,
cash receipts,
is that up and
that's
running?
not up and running, no,
But we own it.
we own it.
Okay, so that ought to be in the plan.
Right, which was, we're trying to schedule training days. Well, we've held up scheduling training days until we get get back on our feet, which I'm starting to see that now with the new employee. That's there on a full-time